Governor Jeff Landry sparked debate over religion and government after a social media post saying the separation of church and state is a myth.
This comes after the governor addressed a viral clip of the Joe Rogan podcast critiquing Louisiana's law requiring the 10 Commandments in all public school classrooms.
It's always interesting to see a person who is a Christian who is not for the 10 Commandments in schools.
Yeah.
And I think you made a very compelling argument, you know.
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot. People who are like, you're in seminary, you're studying to become a minister. Why wouldn't you want the 10 Commandments in every classroom? So I recognize that it's kind of a weird position to be in. But I grew up in a tradition that cherished the separation of church and state, not just because it protects the church or protects democracy, but it is what allows this democracy to happen where we can all have different faith traditions and live together in peace. And so any attempt to erode that boundary, I feel like I have a special obligation to speak out against it. And so I told my colleagues that I thought the bill was unconstitutional, I thought the bill was un-American, but I went one step further and I said I thought the bill was un-Christian, which again probably sounds weird to people. I mean, again, speaking as a Christian, if we have to force people to put up a poster, to me, that means that we have a dead religion, a religion that no longer moves people, a religion that no longer speaks to people's hearts. If we have to prove our legitimacy by micromanaging what teachers put up in their classroom, I mean, to me, that means we have a real crisis in our faith. We should be leading by example, not by mandate. I think this bill will create a whole new generation of atheists who think that my religion, my faith tradition, that means everything to me, is more about power than it is about love. And they already kind of think that. Yeah. I mean, young people already think that about religion. I think this is just going to confirm just the worst, people's worst inclinations and impulses about organized religion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, and it just doesn't make sense that we've always had a separation of church and state. It's been very important. And that this imposing this on kids in school, in non-religious schools, just seems kind of crazy.
Well, and the staunchest defenders for the separation of church and state throughout American history were Protestant Christians, Baptists in particular, right? I mean, the letter Jefferson writes where he first uses that phrase, a wall of separation between church and state, was to the Danbury Baptists. Because, I mean, these Protestants were fleeing Europe as religious minorities, right? I mean, this is kind of essential to the founding of this country was religious freedom. And so those Christians understood that once the government starts preaching your religion, starts making decisions about your faith, that doesn't lead anywhere good. So we should be very suspicious of the state usurping the role of pastors and Sunday school teachers. I mean, if you want to deepen your faith, we have churches on every street corner. A lot of them don't have a lot of people in them, right? We've got mosques and temples and synagogues that have a ton of room in them. And so why would we have the government start to teach kids about or preach a certain religion when we have houses of worship that can do that?
Yeah, I think it's also a really important point you made earlier that if you try to force kids into doing things, they don't like to do it.
Correct.
And especially if you try to force kids they're secular and they come from households that maybe are atheists or agnostic, and then you have this on the wall,
right,
and you impose it on them.
Yeah,
they're going to think about it like they think about a lot of other government BS.
This again is giving Christianity and religious people broadly a bad name. Because this is what people think about religious people, that we're more interested in imposing our faith or our values or our beliefs on others instead of living it out ourselves.